everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the Air Canada webinar. And thank you, Charlie. And I'll get started. So thank you, everyone. I'm going to take you through a bit of an update on Air Canada from our products and services and what's been happening and the awards we've been winning, just to give you a good refresh and an update. So with our big mantra for Air Canada, we are aiming for a pathway to be a global champion. It's something in the last 5 to 10 years we've been working towards, and the end goal will be for us to become a top 10 global airline. And how that's being achieved, I'll take you through the presentation, is with our growth, our new aircraft, as well as the investment back into our products and services. So just touching on last year, was our big year, which we celebrated. Air Canada turned 80. So with our new Dreamliner aircraft, we started bringing those in with all the new livery. We decided to go out with a whole new look and feel for our aircraft. We've got 400 aircraft, so we're halfway through with the new livery and design. We did a simultaneous launch all across Canada in hangars with the aircraft to showcase the actual new design and livery, and plus uniforms for the staff as well. So it's our new colour scheme with the great, we call the rondelle, which is the maple leaf. We call it flying the flag. You'll start to see this livery coming into Australia out of the Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane flights now as well. So some great news. Recently, the Skytrax Industry Awards were announced, and Air Canada picked up 6 awards. The big one, of course, is being the best airline in North America again. We've won that 3 years in a row and 8 years out of 10. So it's a great accolade, and it just proves the point that we are striving for that global champion, being the best airline we can possibly be, and moving into a top 10 airline position. So it's a great award to win, and just to note that as well, with Skytrax, we're the only rated 4-star carrier in North America as well. So we won 6 awards. I'll take you through a couple of them, but this was a big one, of course, winning the best airline in North America. So with global champion and our growth that's been happening, over the last 5 to 7 years, we've actually grown from the 20th largest airline now to the 8th. And that's come about with opening up new routes and destinations, as well as our new 37 Dreamliner aircraft. We actually 30 new routes in the last 2 years, and 20 of those were international. So we've been doing that for the last 6, 7 years, and just expanding, growing, having new destinations, opening up to our global champion pathway. And it's wonderful to work with our great airports, of course, 3 major hubs, Vancouver, Toronto, Pearson and Montreal, having Canadian airports all under one roof and all working together with us. So that growth is fantastic for Canada as a destination. Some great news. Another destination for the South Pacific has just been announced, and that's going to be Vancouver to Auckland, Auckland to Vancouver. We'll be starting this as a seasonal service in December this year that will run approximately to March for 4 months. And what we are doing is testing the market out first 4 times a week. And we did that with our Melbourne service and Brisbane as well. We go in with a seasonal service, and then we get the, of course, you as the agents and the consumers all aware of the service, and then we build it up to a 3, 4 times and a year-round flight. So that's great news for us. Going out again in December, and that'll be 4 times a week through to Auckland. So the Australian services, just a recap. About 2.5 years ago, we launched our Dreamliner 8 series from Brisbane to Vancouver, which continues on to New York. Same aircraft all the way through, the daily service. Of course, we have our Sydney 777 service, daily Sydney, Vancouver, and then direct on to Toronto. And then last year, we launched our 3rd service from Melbourne. Again, it was a seasonal service, went to 3 times a week. It's now currently 4. The goal is to get that to daily, which will hopefully be next year. So we're the only carrier based in North America flying to all 3 East Coast Australian cities, Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. And as I mentioned, Auckland will be coming in December. With our great partnerships with the airports, as I mentioned, in Canada, but our big one, of course, for Australia is Vancouver. Vancouver Airport, if you're not familiar, is award-winning. It's actually won 10 years running Skytrax Best North American Airport. It's very convenient for our Australian passengers as all our Australian flights, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, depart mid-morning to arrive at 7 a.m. in the morning into Vancouver. Perfect for those connections onwards to those destinations within North America. Vancouver Airport is just the best. It's all under one roof, world-class facility. Passengers coming in, if they're going on to Canada, they'll go through Canadian immigration, which is a kiosk. They just type in a few things with their passport and they get a slip and hand that to Canadian immigration. Or if they're going on to the US, they do US immigration and pre-clearance as well. Same procedure, going to machine, fingerprints, passport, and get a slip and pass that through. So it's so convenient, all under one roof, making it easy to transfer into Canada or anywhere into North America. The other great news is, of course, there's no need to collect or recheck luggage to the passenger's next Air Canada flight. We're the only carrier in North America that can do this, which is fantastic to have Vancouver Airport as our partner. So passengers departing from Australia, they're given all their boarding passes to their final destination, and their bags are tagged right through to their final destination. On arrival coming into Vancouver, they're actually made announcements. Again, to passengers, just do your immigration. There's no need to go to the baggage carousels or pick up and go to bag drops. Bags will be sent to the next flight. So that just makes it such a seamless, hassle-free process for passengers coming off our flight, just doing immigration upstairs in the same terminal for their flight. It's just the best way for the gateway into North America. If you're comparing it, again, to our competitors, you've got so many terminals. You have to pick up your bags, change, and redrop. We can guarantee that with our flights from Air Canada to Air Canada. Passengers, like the Brisbane to New York service, is only on the ground for an hour and 50 minutes. That's how long we can do it in Vancouver. Passengers from Sydney and Melbourne can come off our flights, beat that flight from Brisbane, go through the immigration for the US, don't have to worry about bags, straight onto that Dreamliner right through to New York. You'll actually find that we are the quickest to New York, Newark Airport, as a destination because of that short time there. So it's fantastic using Vancouver Airport as our great hub into North America. And again, as I mentioned, the best airport 10 years in a row. As well as a great hub, it also has the flights, of course, into Canada, USA, and passengers after the Canadian holiday if they want to go down to such as the Caribbean or South America, of course, Cuba and places like that. Vancouver Airport caters for it all. So it's wonderful and it's a great partnership with Air Canada. So as you can see, those flights arriving at 7 a.m. I've just picked out some main cities here, of course. So flights going across to the main cities like Montreal and Toronto, you'll find the connection aircraft, and especially the Sydney flight, which is a 777, are wide-bodied aircraft. So passengers coming off, say they're having a certain seat number in business class, they'll actually get the same product going right through if it's on a wide-bodied aircraft. It could be guaranteed that way. So that's the great beauty of having our flights from Vancouver, and the flights over to the East Coast usually are on the larger aircraft with the same cabin features from the Australian flights to Vancouver. So I'm going to touch on our products and services. Recently, we rebranded our business class cabin and we've called it Signature Cabin. The reason why we've done that is we wanted a new enhancement of an end-to-end premium experience for our business passengers. So with our cabins, the Signature class is designed out in the herringbone style of 1, 2 and 1, all facing forward. Everyone has direct aisle access. So no matter whether it's a 777 out of Sydney or the Dreamliner aircraft or an A380, it's exactly the same cabins and feel on board. So with the rebranding, what we've done is put in new bedding, a signature cocktail drink with maple syrup and bourbon, new amenities kit, new menus and wine lists. Just gave it a nice new enhancement and called it Signature Class. Again, with the largest screens in North America, as I mentioned, it's the herringbone style. Everyone has direct aisle access, which is making it great. And lots of storage space, as well as going out to 6-foot, 8-inch bed. Our lounges throughout Canada and North America are actually called, cost appropriately, the Maple Leaf Lounges. We've finished all our refurbishments and upgrades to all of those 22 award-winning Maple Leaf Lounges. In Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, we actually use our Star Alliance partner, Air New Zealand's Kuru lounges. They're available out of Australia. They're actually quite close to our gates departing from Australia. But within Canada, again, as I mentioned, they're great to have our award-winning Maple Leaf lounges. We've actually refurbished quite a few, and the one in Vancouver, the International, is actually, we doubled that in size. So it's perfect for passengers departing out in the evening on those flights back to Australia. It's a much bigger space, 2 stories. So as again, another way for us to give that enhancement, not just with our cabins, but our end-to-end premium experience. So with the signature class cabin, we've actually introduced a restaurant in Toronto, Pearson. We trialled it last year. It's been award-winning and great success. What it is an actual fine dining restaurant for our business passengers. So they can actually go in and have an express meal if they'd like, or a 5-course sit-down dinner with waiter service and Moët champagne. It's only for our business passengers that are paid with a ticket. It's not for upgrades. So a little bit more exclusive. We still have the Maple Leaf Lounge next door if they want the showers and those facilities. But this is a wonderful way to thank our business passengers, give them a fine dining experience with our award-winning chef, David Hawksworth, who's a famous chef from Vancouver. He designs all our menus for seasonal produce from Canada, dishes for our business class cabin, right through to the Maple Leaf Lounges. And with the Skytrax Awards that were announced recently, we actually won for the lounge the Skytrax Best Business Class Dining Lounge. So that's a great accolade, all done within a year. So we're actually going to duplicate and put one in Montreal and hopefully Vancouver by the end of this year. So passengers will still have that great touch point with our refurbished Maple Leaf Lounges. We just wanted to go this little bit extra with having the Air Canada Signature Suite restaurant. With that end-to-end premium experience as well, we offer what's called the Air Canada Concierge Service. Just like a hotel, these staff are actually on the ground around our airports, helping your business passengers and all their needs. We have them available out of Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane daily, so they'll greet the aircraft when they come in. Also, on arrival into Vancouver, for instance, if a passenger had a tight connection, they'll actually go on board in the business cabin and escort them through. They have offices where they can help out with anything that the passenger might need and check them in through those offices as well. It's a great service. Again, it's a wonderful way to say not just our cabins when they're flying, we want them to have that great airport experience. So that end-to-end premium experience with our concierge, our Maple Leaf Lounges, the Air Canada Signature Suite and our concierge team, just giving that 5-star touch. I'm going to touch on our premium economy cabin behind business class. It's in a row of 3, designed out 232 on the Dreamliners out of Melbourne and Brisbane. And it's 242 on the wider aircraft, 777 out of Sydney. So it's 24 out of Sydney, 21 out of Brisbane and Melbourne. With the design, it's actually a row of 3. Everyone has 38 inches of legroom. Designs are giving them a bit more comfort. Of course, the meals are enhanced and served on crockery and glassware. We have a priority check-in, a hot towel service, a pre-departure drink, and an amenities kit as well. So it's a great cabin to have for your passengers that maybe not can't afford the business class, but would like that extra bit of luxury flying through to Canada to start their holiday. To our economy cabin. Again, it's all been refurbished when we had the new aircraft, the Dreamliners, and we did all the 777s at the same time. All new seating, of course. It's complimentary drinks, wines, and meals on international services. Each seat has a UBS port and a screen, which is actually with 600 hours of entertainment, and also an audio jack for the headset and a UBS PowerPoint in each seat as well. We've just completed, we're 90% all the way through of our Wi-Fi through all our aircraft. It's been completed in North America a year ago. We're just doing internationally now. We wanted to actually have the best system, which was the GoGo system, which is hooking up with the best satellite. So it just took a little bit longer than we would have liked, but we wanted to make sure the technology was stable and is able to work. So our flights now out of Australia do include the Wi-Fi. which is fantastic if someone wants to catch up on work. And there's 14-hour flights out of Sydney, 15 out of Melbourne, and 13 out of Brisbane. So as I mentioned, of course, our Star Alliance partners in Australia, we actually have use of the Air New Zealand Courier Lounge out of Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane next to our gate. But it's great being in partnership with the 27 member airlines. Air Canada was one of the founding 5 members of the Star Alliance program. So there's now 27 airlines, and it's great to know that because you can put those in for their membership for frequent flyer points as well. Something that's really big and is hitting the news quite a lot is, of course, airlines are taking that social responsibility with our waste as well as the carbon and energy. Air Canada is jumping to the forefront. Last year, we actually won Eco Airline of the Year, and that was just when we're starting off the program. We're actually now into phase 2. This year, we're going right through the whole of our service on board and pulling out all the single-use plastics and replacing them. It will take till the end of the year. We have a team working on that now. They're about 2/3 of the way through, so it's something, a big initiative that we do want to reduce all that wastage with single-use plastics. Another company we've joined up with called 4 Oceans, who are quite big in North America, and what they do is within communities, get people to go around, join clubs and go to beaches and clean up beaches, do anything they can to pick up rubbish, have a whole day outing with barbecues. We're part of that program, and it just launched last week in Fort Lauderdale, and we're bringing it up to Canada next week. So all these are great initiatives, as well as, of course, we're working on the wastage and doing the carbon with our new aircraft. But we're just, as I mentioned, it's just started off now. So stay tuned and you'll see the award-winning services that we'll be able to offer, and, again, having that less waste and less carbon and making our airline more sustainable. So I'm just going to touch on just when you're booking our fares and you're talking to your clients, and just some of the tips here that may be able to help you in the guide and the GDS when you're looking at our fares. So our booking suite of classes. Business, we have J, C, D and Z, which are the flexible tickets. P class there is our tactical business class. You'll see that coming from time to time with a sale. It might be in retail with 60 days advance purchase. Just be aware that P class is non-refundable. So again, if a passenger needs to change tickets, use the J, C, D or Z. But P class is our tactical fare, and a lot of our wholesalers will use that as well. Our premium cabin from economy is Neo, nice and easy to remember. N is our tactical, and E and O are the flexible ones. Cross to economy, you have the full suite there. Flexible tickets, but I'll mention the last 3 booking classes, L, A and K. They're the tactical booking classes that will come in when we have our sale fares, and usually, as I mentioned, they'll be non-refundable. So just be aware that you are booking those on those classes. We work with all the Canadian wholesalers, of course. It is always worth checking a wholesale fare against your GDS published fare. All the major, anyone that's going to Canada, whether it's ski or summer, will have a wholesale fare. For instance, the ski wholesalers have now the winter early birds out now, right through to early September for the ski season, as well as, of course, your summer touring for next year out, the early birds of 2019. And then there's also the year-round wholesale fares. So always please check with your wholesalers if they have the Air Canada wholesale fare that you can offer with the package. With our great published fares, of course, the fares are combinable with the USA and booking classes. For USA, it's fantastic. You can quote in the GDS. For instance, a passenger might go to Seattle and pick up a cruise and come back, and they might drive back over to Vancouver. So it's an open jaw. Yep, that'll quote. Our published fares to Canada and the USA work together, as well as combinable booking classes. Great for a passenger, for example, if they wanted to fly the premium economy and come back economy. That can be all quoted in the GDS. It's quite easy. And you can, of course, book all those sectors right through. So say from Sydney, Vancouver, open jaw, Calgary, fly across to Toronto, down to Montreal, and then maybe back to Winnipeg, Vancouver, and back to Melbourne, for instance, can book up to 10 sectors, so it's quite easy in the GDS. Always go into the fare rules, of course, double check our repricing rules. Sometimes get stuck on those, but it's all within the GDS. You look into the fares. So I'm going to start wrapping up now, but I just wanted to just put some important points. And one of the main ones, of course, is the Canadian ETA, the Electronic Travel Authority. Just so you know, we do get about 20 passengers a day between Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane without one. And it's usually their own fault. They've not listened. They've just thought they could do it and they've forgotten about it. So we're not as strict as the USA at this stage. They can do it at the airport. And the USA is now 72 hours, but I imagine that will change down the line. So a lot of them do it at the airport, all good. Once they've done it, it goes through to the North American passenger system. And what it's looking for is their passport number and their name, and it has to then go back to the counter and they can print a boarding pass. The Canadian passenger system is the same as the US, so it all looks at across the board. So if they print that at the airport, fantastic, they'll get onto the flight. If they rush and do one letter wrong, no, they can lock them out for 24 hours. So again, just please reinstate to your passengers the need to have both if they're going to Canada and the USA by air. And also very important, of course, and you're probably all aware, is that the Canadian government website is the correct one because the ETA costs $7 for 5 years. Some of the sites that get above the Canadian government gets pushed down on Google, they can charge between $60 to $100. So we always try and make sure that it's even on our website that passengers are going to the correct Canadian website. So great value at $7 for 5 years. If your passport does expire in that period, again, you'll have to apply for a new ETA in that time as well. So points I've touched on, just to wrap the presentation up. Of course, our pathway to being a global champion and top 10 airline is through our growth, our new routes and destinations, and our products and services. So as I mentioned, it's the third year in a row, Best North American Airline with Skytrax. Our wonderful partner, Vancouver Airport, being the hub for the Pacific into North America. And again, they've also won that award for 10 years running Best North American Airport. Using that great travel experiences with our Dreamliner aircraft and our upgraded 777 aircraft, and being the only airline from North America flying into all three cities of Australia, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, and soon to Auckland. A hassle-free, seamless transfer going through Vancouver. If they're continuing on to Canada, all they need to do is immigration. Same for the US. No need to pick up bags, recheck them. It's just a simple process. And you'll actually mention, as I said, that you'll see some of our flights across to the East Coast will be of course, the quickest because of that transfer time in Vancouver and using Vancouver as the hub into North America. We do have 60 destinations within Canada and 40 in the US, so we do certainly have North America covered. And as I mentioned, the great signature cabin and service, our new products from end-to-end premium experience for your business passengers. If they're travelling across Trans-Pacific, again, if they're going all the way through a wide-bodied aircraft, they'll have that same product all the way through. They'll have the use of our Maple Leaf lounges, signature suite in Toronto and soon Vancouver, as well as our Maple Leaf lounges and our concierge team as well. So just some points I might just top on here. I will be getting to Charlie a tip sheet for you all with more links. And I just want to mention our Air Canada reservations firstly is now, we've brought that back in-house to Canada. So you can call on the toll-free numbers, and it's actually 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you're working back late or starting early, you've always got Air Canada you can call at those hours. With our reservations team, they are pretty much there to answer Joe's general questions. We actually have set up what's called the Air Canada Rates team, which is based in Canada regarding fares and reissues. So what you actually do now is in your PNR, if you have a question such as repricing or what taxes, something to do with the fare, you just put it in free format and you queue it through your GDS, and I'll have all the GDS links and numbers for you. And what you queue it through, and within 6 to 12 hours, our rates team will come back, all there back in the booking to tell you exactly what the pricing is for you. So it's all in writing, and it's done by our experts. With our reservations team, they aren't trained so much in fares. We have set up the dedicated rates team to be able to do that for you. So again, using Air Canada across to wonderful Canada is our wonderful Canadian hospitality and service. This is our new crew uniforms that they all got last year. All our pilots, our maintenance, under the wing, check-in staff, crew, all got new uniforms to help celebrate our 80th birthday. So they're looking pretty snazzy there with adding to our lovely Canadian hospitality. I just might mention as well, of course, we have I've been talking today on Air Canada, but we actually have two other airlines as such. Air Canada Express, which is our regional airline flying into small provincial towns and cities within Canada, which are usually the Dash aircraft, let's say across to Victoria, for instance. And we also have Air Canada Rouge, which is our leisure airline. Air Canada Rouge is still the same designator and still commissionable and ticketable ex-Australia. And where Rouge fly, they actually of Canadians where they like to go for holidays, such as down in Fort Lauderdale for the cruise market, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Cuba, and some new destinations in Europe. So it'll come up in the GDS saying operated by Air Canada Rouge, and it's only two classes, economy and premium, but it's still ticketable on the one ticket. So I just thought I might mention we have the three, Air Canada Express, Air Canada Rouge, and mainline Air Canada. So thank you, everyone. I really enjoyed giving the update today, and I'll pass back over to Charlie. And if you've got any questions, type away, and I'd love to help you.
Neil, thank you so much. Fantastic update. A really exciting time for Air Canada by the sounds of it. So much going on, and awards, new routes, new aircraft. So congratulations.
Thank you. And it's great to be growing in the South Pacific, as I mentioned, having Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, and soon Auckland. It's great to have that growth for us coming to Canada.
Yeah, very exciting. And great product consistency throughout the aircraft as well. So thank you for that. The floor is open for questions, everybody. So please get typing if you do have any questions. Kirsten's got one through. Hi, Neil. Thank you. How much time would you recommend we allocate clients in YVR if passing through USA immigrations between flights?
For instance, of the Brisbane service, Brisbane, Vancouver, that Dreamliner continues on to New York. So it's the same plane all the way through. That's on the ground between an hour and 40 to an hour and 50 minutes. So that's the time that the minimum connection time is there for it. It'll actually come from the GDS. Showing that for you. So it does sound tight, but again, as I mentioned, with those bags being rechecked right through, it's allowable, and it can happen all under that one roof in Vancouver.
Thank you. Yeah, Vancouver is a pretty slick operation, isn't it? So everything is well set up. Okay, Nadia says, hi, Neil. I recently traveled in Signature. What's happening with lounge access in EWR? It was awful. Vancouver was wonderful.
Yes, EWR, that's the last one that we can do. We actually put that in place as a temporary lounge about 3 years ago for that Brisbane service. The reason is, as you're probably aware, at American airports, they're all going under major refits right from LaGuardia and Newark. We just didn't want to invest in a whole new lounge for Newark because we know the terminals are all going to be moved and changed around. Only 6 months ago, we've moved into LaGuardia in our terminal there, and we've opened a brand new spanking lounge within LaGuardia in the new terminal there. So that was our priority first, getting that up and running. And then now, once Newark has got their the changes and remodelling, we'll invest back in and do a bigger lounge for Newark. It was just not worth spending that investment when we just don't know how they're going to knock down terminals and put new things in. But as I mentioned, LaGuardia was finished 6 months ago for Air Canada. So it's a wonderful new design. It's just I was there a couple of weeks ago, and it's a whole turnaround. But there's major works going at all those airports in New York.
Great, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments, or anybody else going soon? Let us know. Otherwise, as I mentioned, you will get the recording, you will get some follow-up from me, and I will pass all of your details on to Neil for him to do his own follow-up email. I think he's got a video for you, and you mentioned the flat sheet as well with the with your phone numbers and things. So plenty more opportunity to keep in touch with Neil.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, no other questions. We'll sign off there. Neil and I will just hang out while everybody logs out. But thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you, Neil, for a great update. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Au revoir.